Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. Today we're going to take a stroll through the Temple Bar area of Dublin. This video should at least familiarise you with this popular part of Dublin, so that you know what to expect when you visit. I'll also talk a little bit about the history of the place for those of you that already know Temple Bar, but perhaps would like to know a little bit more. I should say that this video is being shot during the COVID pandemic, and so there's not as many people around as you might usually expect. We're also obviously visiting Temple Bar during the daytime. This is a very different place after nightfall. In the evenings, and particularly at weekends, you can't move down here for people, mostly young people, out enjoying themselves in the many bars and restaurants that you notice as we walk through. The place is massively popular too, with tourists in Dublin, and I'm sure that if you're planning your trip to Ireland, Temple Bar is likely to be one of the places that you'd be interested in visiting. Aside from smaller Irish pubs, you can see a Hard Rock cafe directly in front of us, an indication that big business moved in here quite some time ago. This area was regenerated as a cultural area in the 1990s by a not-for-profit company called Temple Bar Properties, established by the Irish government. However, the area's renaissance wasn't that straightforward. In fact, prior to this, in the 1970s and the 80s, the whole area was earmarked as a huge bus station. The idea was to demolish all these properties to make way for this new transport hub. However, while the redevelopment was in the planning stage, the buildings were rented out cheaply, attracting artists, small shops and galleries. When these new residents in the area protested at the imminent destruction of what was speedily becoming a cultural area, eventually their voices were heard. You might call it a victory of people power. Two famous landmarks there, the Oliver St John Gothardy and the Old Dubliner, both big hits with tourists. Before we walk further, I hope this video and others like it is informative and useful. If so, please give it a like at this stage before you forget, and by subscribing you'll be signalling that this video is of use, and that encourages us to create more films in the future. Obviously, please feel free to share this film with friends and family too. Just check out this little fishing tackle shop on the right. It's closed right now, but great to see places like this surviving in central Dublin. And we look down this street towards the quays of the River Liffey. But getting back to Temple Bar, its history obviously extends well beyond the 1970s. The Anglo-Normans called this place St Andrew's Parish, but since it was outside the city walls, it couldn't be protected properly from the native Irish, and so it fell into decline in medieval times. In the 17th century, this area was comprised of houses and gardens belonging to the wealthy English. Indeed, it may have been one of those residents, a Sir William Temple, who gave his name to the place. The 18th century saw the area decline again, and these streets would have been frequented by prostitutes who operated in the area, so that by the time we get to the 20th century, many of the buildings would have been in a terrible state, and the whole area was suffering from chronic urban decay. So it's great that the area's fortunes were turned around again at the end of the 20th century. Again, we see the Quays Bar, another tourist haunt in the area. Staying with culture, the area is home to many modern Irish cultural institutions. These include the Temple Bar Gallery and studios, seen here, the Irish Photography Centre, the Ark, a children's cultural centre, the Irish Film Institute, and an art house multimedia centre called the Button Factory. Excuse my finger on the corner of the screen here. Also, the Project Arts Centre, the Gaiety School of Acting, and the Contemporary Music Centre. It's interesting that this place became so popular during the late 1990s, with visiting stag and hen parties that they were banned entirely as they were considered to be causing too much of a disturbance. I'm not sure if the ban is still in force. Probably not, as it can get pretty mental down here at the weekends. And again, we see another of the pubs that tourists flock to in the evenings. It's great though that all the cobbled streets have been retained, and it gives the place a real village atmosphere. A pretty mad village, admittedly. This popular pub, the Norseman, obviously takes its name from the Vikings, who were of course one of this part of Dublin's earliest, less than completely welcome visitors. And this is Fitzsimmons Bar, or Fitzsimmons Bar, a name which is Norman in origin, where you can see live Irish dancing if that might be of interest to you. Seems to be Deliveroo riders aplenty down here. And just into the left here, there's a little square where you'll find an outdoor market, I think on a Saturday. More pubs and restaurants here, and eateries of every exotic persuasion. And just coming up on the right hand side here is the famous Clarence Hotel. Famous because it's owned by the rock band U2, who of course are from Dublin. Though I notice it's changed a bit, so I suspect it might be under new management. Perhaps the U2 fellas have moved on. This place, Dullard and Co, is relatively new too. It's basically a big sit-in delicatessen or wine bar. So the whole area is constantly changing, as it has done since Viking times, I guess. There's a big Irish wolfhound, or maybe it's a small horse. Again, we look north towards the River Liffey here. And that's a guy with a pizza. And you can see now, I think, that there's residential accommodation down here as well. Obviously you need to be a heavy sleeper to consider buying an apartment around here. You'd need deep pockets too. Dublin is one of the most expensive places to buy property in Europe. Just imagine the noise around here at night time. I'll have to come back and film in the evening at some point to let you see how crazy this place gets. I think daytime is perhaps a good time to actually be able to see the place though. One of the great claims to fame of this area was that the premiere of Handel's famous Messiah took place here in 1742. That happened at the very end of this street, in the adjoining Shambles Street. It's now performed every year in the same location. And there's the proof we need that this is a residential area as well. Kids on their scooters and bikes, and travelling at quite a lick too. So, Shambles Street is immediately at the bottom here, and this is where we'll end our walk. I hope that you've enjoyed learning about the place. As I say, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Make It Ireland video. you.